Having had their Scottish Cup dream ended last weekend, St Johnstone's aim for the rest of the season is to try to snatch third place and a return to European competition next season. The only thing on Hearts' minds is survival, and ahead of this afternoon's trip to McDiarmid Park, they were just 1 point clear of bottom place. Before the game, in common with matches all across the country, players and supporters alike observed a minute's silence in memory of those who died in the Hillsborough tragedy 10 years ago.
Time in 7 weeks, John O'Neill's name is on the St Johnstone team sheet. Keith O'Halloran drops down to the bench. The other change from the team taken apart in last Sunday's Cup semi-final against Rangers is Miguel Simão in from the start with John Paul McBride injured. Simão will support Roddy Grant up front, and Sandy Clark keeps faith with the back four of Weir, Dodds, Kernican and Boland, despite losing those 4 goals at Celtic Park last weekend. John McQuillan is still injured. But the return of John O'Neill is a big boost for the Perth team. He's been outstanding this season and proved his fitness in an under-21 game during the week. Having Colin Cameron back has worked wonders for Hearts. His recovery from injury has been timely, and along with Jackson and Fulton is making Hearts play. Not recovered from injury are Gary Locke and Dave McPherson. Both miss out. Locke replaced by Grant Murray. Kevin James makes his first start for Hearts in McPherson's place. Rob McKinnon has passed a fitness test. Here's the lineup: James alongside Stephen Presley and Paul Ritchie at the back, Murray in the right wing-back berth, and Hearts looking to supply on-form strike pair Gary McSwiggan and Stefan Adam. The referee at McDiarmid Park is Willie Young. St Johnstone start the match, still not knowing if third place in the Scottish Premier League means automatic entry to European football next season. UEFA, hopefully, will make their decision next week, but St Johnstone's main preoccupation is closing the gap between themselves and the current occupants of that third spot, Kilmarnock. Sandy Clark has watched his side in the last couple of Sundays, first beat Rangers 3-1 and then lose 4-0 in the Cup semi-final. Forward from Weir. Now Simão. Lovely change of direction. And in for Paul Kane. Saved by Rousset. Again, excellent play from Simão, holding it up. And the quality of the pass was good for Kane. Dangerous from Murray. McInnesby. Good driving run, Grant in the middle, palmed away by Rousset. McInnesby, whose 2 goals this season have been against the Old Firm pair. It was Grant Murray's mistake which allowed him the way through, and confident enough to have a crack at goal. Making himself very clear is Jim Jeffries. Boland's throw into Roddy Grant, trying to turn. It came off Kevin James. And it's a corner kick. Curled in by Kieran McInnesby, lost by Rousset. Darren Dodds, shot charged down. Rousset really should have held that. Jim Weir was pressurising him. A well-paced pass again for Stefan Adam. And now Grant Murray. Jackson to McKinnon. Gary McSwiggan. Cameron and Adam in the middle. Headed behind by Nick Dasovic. And the header concedes the first corner kick of the match to Hearts. In from Stefan Adam, punched away by Alan Main, and he's in trouble after that challenge from Kevin James, which has infuriated the St Johnstone players. sort of situations, and he plunged into Maine. Like his players, Sonny Clark wasn't too impressed with that Kevin James challenge. Still not moving too freely, Alan Main. But he is going to continue. Gary Boland's header. Simao for O'Neill. Now Kane. Weir to Simao, lovely flick. John O'Neill. And off his line, Gilles Rousset. Too long, that ball from Gary Naismith. Gary McSwiggan couldn't get on the end of it. Weir's header. Good control from Grant. Good pass as well for Simao. Back onto the favoured left peg. Well won by Cameron against Kane. Jackson. Kernahan too long with the pass for McInnesby. Given away by Jim Weir, straight to James. Now Colin Cameron. He's found some room. Still Cameron. Shoots too high. Darren Jackson was alongside him, screaming for the pass. But Colin Cameron felt this was worth a crack at goal. Presley finding Adam and finding him offside. 3.5 minutes of stoppage time played, and that will do. A hugely unimpressive first half. Kevin James clattered into Alan Main, a challenge on the keeper, which we'll much talked about during the half-time interval. There's, in truth, not too much else to talk about. There were very few attempts on goal. This was one of them from an angle. Kieran McInnesby, palmed away by Gilles Rousset. Did well with that, didn't do quite so well with this as he spilled a corner kick. Darren Dodd's shot was charged down. This was the incident when James hit Main in the goal mouth, and Alan Main hobbling off at half-time, and it won't be a big surprise if the St Johnstone keeper is replaced at the start of the second half. Let's hope the second half is better than the first. Shouldn't be too much of a challenge. Half-time, St Johnstone 0, Hearts 0. And the expected change takes place for the start of the second half. Alan Ferguson is on, Alan Main is off. Hearts get the match restarted. And immediately a pass goes astray, which just about sums up the way this has gone so far. Hearts need to pick up points. They've played well in the last 3 games, but they still need points to make their place safe in the Premier League. In from John O'Neill, underneath the cross, Gilles Rousset, despite the attentions of Roddy Grant. Lighted in by O'Neill and comfortably held. Stretching out to reach that was Grant Murray. Steve Fulton through for Gary McSwiggan. McSwiggan, good effort. And good goalkeeping from Alan Ferguson. That will do him some good. And this will do Everyone's done good because it's the best attempt on goal so far. Powerfully struck by McSwiggan, stopped and held. Ritchie's pass finds its way through to Steve Fulton. Brushed aside by Paul Kane. No free kicks. John O'Neill with Simao and Grant up ahead of him. John O'Neill on his own. A shot blocked by Kevin James. And James has injured himself in the process. The ball turned out of play, so James can get some attention. He's in a fair bit of pain. He fell awkwardly here. He went over on his ankle after he blocked the shot from O'Neill. It looked fairly innocuous, but when you watch how Kevin James hit the deck, it also looked very painful. It's a long way down from 6'7" up in the air, and a concerned look on the face of Jim Jeffries. But he is going to continue. Knocked forward by Colin Cameron, onto it, Gary McSwiggan did well. Darren Jackson! Ferguson was well positioned when it looked as if Darren Jackson might score. This was strong play from Gary McSwiggan, pushing Kernahan off the ball and setting it up for Darren Jackson. If he'd placed this shot wider, it might well have been 1-0. Meantime, Kevin James' match might well be over. That right angle giving him problems. The Hearts replacement will be 20-year-old Scott Severin, and Jim Jeffries will reshuffle his sides. Off goes James, and there's a certain irony in that he was involved in the collision with Alan Main, which led to the St Johnstone keeper going off. Now he's heading down the tunnel himself. And the loose ball, Paul Kane. Simao, McAnespie. It's a good surging run by Kieran McAnespie. Trying to send it in towards Roddy Grant. That was promising for St Johnstone. Superb run by 19-year-old McAnespie. Cameron to Fulton. Naismith, first time for a damn lovely touch. Darren Jackson, beaten by Kernahan. And back from Bowen. Superb defensive play, this from Alan Kernahan to cut out the threat of Darren Jackson, set up by Adam, trying to find room for the shot. Look for Cameron. Now Darren Jackson. Good shot. Difficult to get to for Alan Ferguson, and that was a fine save. Adam and Cameron involved, and this was well hit and well saved. Severin to Ritchie. As well played by Nathan Lowndes. Ritchie took too long. In for Simao! Still not cleared. Halloran's effort blocked. And Hearts survive. A superb effort that from the Portuguese striker. And within inches of giving St Johnstone the lead. This was athletic, and it was spectacular. The outside of the left foot, back off the crossbar. A good ball from Gary Boland, and a good run from Miguel Simao. Forces the corner kick. Out of play off Scott Semron. A well-timed run by Simao. Jim Weir is up. Darren Dodds as well. In from McInnesby, bouncing dangerously through the goal mouth and knocked over the top by Darren Dodds. Nobody could get there for Hearts, and sadly for St Johnstone, Darren Dodds couldn't keep the shot down. Not impressed. The Hearts manager, Joe Jeffries. Through the middle from Alan Kernigan. Chased by Nathan Lowndes. Lay off for Paul Kane. And that was well played by Gary Naismith. Got back there to make a very important challenge as Paul Kane was about to pull the trigger. Well set up by Lowndes, and that was the Naismith interception. Inside the last minute of the regulation 90. Naismith to Fulton. The sure touch of Stefan Adam. Gary Naismith getting beyond Weir. Dangerous bouncing ball spilled, and Darren Jackson has missed the chance to give Hearts all 3 points. A mistake, bad mistake by Alan Ferguson, and it went unpunished. It was a difficult bouncing ball in front of him. McSwiggan had a flash at it. It broke for Jackson, and Darren Jackson had all the time here to pick his spot. Hooked it wide. McSwiggan won it for Fulton. Headed away by Boland. McSwiggan losing out to Weir. Ritchie in charge. Plays it off O'Halloran. Back from Fulton. Naismith. The Dodds header. Good touch from Kane. McInnesby. Onside is Nathan Lowndes. And a team effort from the substitutes. After he'd found a good bit of room, he was composed enough to take his time, but the shot, not a problem for Rousset. Boland gets the break of the ball. Grant Murray. Gary McSwiggan. Fulton lays it off for Naismith. Took a touch off Jim Weir. Sliced by Naismith. And that doesn't please the manager. Flicked on by O'Halloran. The whistle goes for full time. So a chorus of booing. Second half was certainly better than the first. It had to be. Miguel Simao went close for St Johnstone with a deft touch from his left foot, which came back off the crossbar. But the best chance of the match fell to Darren Jackson right at the end. What a chance to give Hearts all 3 points. The ball came to him on the penalty spot. Nobody near him. He hooked his effort wide. So Hearts pick up a point as they fight against relegation. St Johnstone get a point too, as they try to get to 3rd spot. It's going to be difficult for them though. Final score at McDermott Park is St Johnstone 0, Hearts 0.
We're playing at home against a team who are below us in the league, and you would expect and hope to get the 3 points at home. But I think when you look at the quality of players that the Hearts have, then you know it's always going to be a hard game. But that's 5 times we've played Hearts this season and we're unbeaten, so we're happy with our performance against them.
Clearly we suffered for the midweek match with Celtic. You could tell after 15-20 minutes there was just that bit of sharpness. It's been there in the last 3 games, but we battled away and we kept a clean sheet. And you know, it was one of these games where it just, you know, if we could get a chance, and I think Darren got a wee chance at the end there, but the ball was spinning as it come across. But as I say, it's a point. We haven't been picking up too many away from home, so you know, that's the last 2 away games we've been undefeated. So it's a better sign for us.
I thought the first half today we totally dominated it. I don't think Hearts were really up the park. I think the only time they got up, they managed to clatter the goalkeeper. But apart from that, I didn't feel they put us under any pressure at all. Second half, they've had 1 or 2 chances, 18-20 yards out, and Alan Ferguson coped with that very well. And other than that, I felt that, you know, Samoa hit the bar. We maybe had the better of the chances.
How's Alan Main? Because Kevin James is a big lad.
It was a fair challenge on him, or maybe a hardy challenge on him is a better way of putting it. But the referee gave the free kick, and rightly so. He's away at hospital just now, and we're just going to check to see if there's any real problems with him. Hopefully he'll be all right.
It shows how well you have been playing in the last 3 games, that you wanted better. We could see and hear that from you on the touchline.
Yeah, I think we were desperate to get it up today. We're trying to get them to give that wee bit more. We said at half-time, we felt obviously the reaction for midweek, but you know, we just had to, we couldn't complain about that. We just had to dig deep and you know, try and lift it. And you know, it looks like a game where it's only going to be the 1 goal that separates it. And you know, we've just got to ask a wee bit for everybody.
With Kilmarnock winning well this afternoon, that stretched the gap.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap there, but we've got a game in hand on Tuesday night at Tannadice. We can certainly close it there, and we've still got to play Kilmarnock later in the season. So there's a lot to play for yet, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of kind of unexpected results between now and the end of the season.
And with Dunfermline losing heavily today, you're a point better off, basically.
Yeah, that's a bad defeat for Dunfermline. You know, you can look at it 2 ways. It might spur them to, you know, but then it might affect their confidence. But as I said before, you've got to look after yourself and not worry about too much. It's in our hands. We've got there's still games to play with teams down below there, so well in our hands. And it turned out to probably be a valuable point today. But you know, we're going hunting for 3 at the moment, and we'll do that in the remaining fixtures.
It was hardly a classic. Perhaps the only plus for Hearts, the fact that they have moved just that 1 point closer to safety. Gordon, you were at Celtic Park this afternoon, but I know you watched the whole game on tape and returning to the studio here. Classic?
I think I was getting punished tonight by the BBC. They brought me in and made me watch the whole 90 minutes. Fortunately, I was able to spool through the parts when the ball's out of play. It took me about just over an hour to watch it, but it wasn't good viewing, I have to say. It looked like an end-of-season game, and the bumpy pitch, the sunny day, players having difficulty controlling the ball. Hardly any moves getting put together, you know. At times, if you counted 3 or 4 passes, they're going to the same team in a move, then it was unusual. But it was just, it just wasn't a good game. And I don't know who benefited from it, whether Hearts it's a good point or not, or whether St Johnstone will be happy with the point, having come back from the cup defeat, you know. So, but it just turned out it was probably the right result, to be honest with you.
We have managed to pick out 1 or 2 of the talking points. I guess the most controversial moment, the injury to Alan Main. What did you make of that?
Well, I thought it was a fair challenge, to be honest with you. It's a strong challenge here. He's going in to head the balls. No doubt about that. Kevin James is such a good player. A lot of animosity with other players having a real go, because there's no doubt he did hit Alan Main. Now, watch this the first time a few times. Look, he's just gone, his arms are down, so he's not caught him. But look at the knee here. Look at Kevin James's knee. That's what catches him. Now, to be honest with you, most of the time keepers do that to outfield players. It's their knee that's up there, and they get away with it. But he's jumping there. I think just a natural reaction to lift his legs, going for the ball. I don't think there's been any attempt there to injure Alan Main, but he certainly has been aggressive in terms of his challenge, and Alan Main's come off worse.
We've heard tonight that he's gone to hospital purely as a precaution. He is doubtful for the match against Dundee United on Tuesday night. It was Alan Ferguson then who got the chance to come on at half-time. He's a keeper who's been around a long time. He certainly took his chance today, didn't he?
Yeah, it's somebody you've forgotten mainly about, because Alan Main's been so consistent. This is a good catch there. I mean, it's probably going in the corner of the net, and it's early in the second half, and he got a grip of it. This is a good work here by McSwigan, knocks about it. As Sandy Clark mentioned, it was all outside the box. I mean, that's not a fierce shot, but it was certainly going net bound. And here's a nice little flick here. Once again, the move just outside the box. Dan Jackson this time driving one in, and that's a good take. So they are all shots from outside the box.
This was the one big mistake that he made?
Yeah, a difficult one to take, though. You can see the way it just spun in front, and then a mistake as well. Dan Jackson there, that was the real only chance they had in close to goal, and Dan Jackson snatched it a little bit, you know, probably just for the first time, thinking, well, a chance might not come along again. Rather than having that little bit of composure, he's tried to bury it quickly and miss-hit it.
Sandy was saying there in the interview he felt that St Johnstone pretty well dominated the game, but there was the one real clear-cut chance. It was a good effort, wasn't it, by Miguel Sameo?
Yeah, I think St Johnstone probably did have more possession, and it was a good ball in from Lowndes and Sameo there, almost similar to the goal they scored against Motherwell recently in the Cup, where he just come in the outside of his foot, the little flick over Andy Gorham. This time he was being challenged, but he managed to flick it in. It was a nice touch, hit the bar, but there weren't an awful lot of chances in the game, to be honest with you. I think that, you know, the people who paid money to watch it, I'm not going away having seen a classic, anything to remember from the game.
Dick, how do you view that? Is that a point picked up for Hearts, or were you expecting them to go up to McDermott Park and perhaps win this afternoon?
That's a good point for Hearts. St Johnstone are a good side, good compact side. Nothing fancy about them. Everybody works for each other. But I mean, I like how Hearts have been playing. Hearts would probably be thinking they would get more than 1 point, but watching the game, I think a draw is probably a fair result.
Do you think winning for a few more matches like that between now and the end of the season?
There's no shadow of a doubt about that. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge yet.
OK, well, let's take a look now on how all 4 league tables stand tonight. Henrik Larsson's 38th goal of the season from the penalty spot was enough to win Celtic a bad-tempered game against Motherwell and move them to within 3 points of Rangers. Kilmarnock's amazing performance at Dunfermline makes them favourites to clinch 3rd place. St Johnstone now 7 points behind with that game in hand. Billy Dodds with 2, Joe Miller and Shell Olofsson all scored in Dundee United's latest hammering of Aberdeen. The 4-0 win, United's biggest